Welcome, and thank you for joining us for Sunday service at the Center for Spiritual Living Denver. Whether you're here in person or tuning in from afar, we're grateful to share this sacred time with you. We are a loving, prospering, and inclusive community in the heart of Denver.
Our services are held in a hybrid format at the historic Grant Avenue Community Center and Sacred Place, located at 216 South Grant Street. At CSL Denver, all are welcome. We are a place, a space, and a face of love. A spiritual community practicing universal principles that enrich and transform our lives.
Your presence is a blessing. If you're joining us online, feel free to say hello in the comments so we can celebrate you and your light.
Life brings many experiences, and you never have to walk through them alone. Our licensed spiritual practitioners are available for personal prayer support. Their names and contact information can be found on our website at csldenver.org.
You may also email prayer requests to info@csldenver.org. Convenient links are included in the description of this broadcast. We extend deep gratitude for your participation, your financial contributions, generosity, and your continued support of our services, classes, and community events. If you'd like to stay connected and informed, we invite you to sign up for our weekly newsletter on
There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Teresa Cardenas. I'm a practitioner emeritus here at CSL Denver. on this beautiful, sunny, warm summer morning. So let's just, if you feel comfortable, close your eyes as we move into that place where we know that the universal light is the essence of everything. That it is the omniscient energy that is manifested in every single material thing that we see, in every thought we have, in every heartbeat. It is so incredibly creative. The essence of what it creates is beyond anything that we can see in a physical form. Yet we know it is there. It is always there. It has our back. This is a supportive, creative, and loving and safe universe. And so as we move into the service this morning, we know that this service is blessed, that all the technology is working perfectly, that the message that I give and that Elzia gives goes out into the community in a ripple effect that only finds the highest and best good in everyone. Whether you are on a mountaintop, in a synagogue, in a mosque, in the park, in a church, wherever it is that one is being, it is being in the unity of life. And so it is. The reading this morning comes from a website called heartfulness.org and was an article written by Najin Khorasani called Remembering Wholeness. Sometimes in the activities of our days, in the highly active doing mode we inhabit, we forget our connection to the whole. We forget the fullness, the perfection, and expansiveness of our being. We forget the wholeness of who we already are. We forget the miracle of life itself. At some point, everyone saw something magical in us when we were first born. Our very existence was considered a miracle, from conception to birth. The first time we opened our eyes was celebrated as if the sun had arisen new. Our first smile was an embodiment of pure joy for our parents and loved ones. So what happened? Did we forget the beauty of life as it flows within and around us? Did we lose our sense of reverence for existence? Do we see each movement of our bodies as magical? Even on our worst days, we remain miracles on this earth. Our bodies, our minds, and the life force that breathes and moves us are absolutely glorious. Do we feel the miracle of waking up every morning? Can we recognize its grandeur and lie in awe and appreciation before making any move? Can we allow this awareness to fill our hearts with boundless gratitude and simply savor it as we awaken? Is our natural response to sit, even for a moment, in silent appreciation for this miracle we call life? Perhaps this is what we can focus upon awakening each day. And as our day unfolds, we can bring ourselves back again and again to our connection with the source, to our wholeness, constantly reminding ourselves of who we truly are, of the divinity within us. What if this were our practice throughout the day, to consciously dissolve the mind-made boundaries that separate us from everything and everyone? As we walk, talk, and engage in daily activities, we would consciously immerse ourselves in this remembrance of unity. Awakening to this wholeness is true healing. All suffering stems from the illusion of separation, which brings feelings of fear, worry, unworthiness, and inadequacy. With an attitude of oneness, we would realize we have already arrived at our destination. We are one with the source of everything. There is nothing and no one we must hold on to to feel complete. We are already whole. The absence of this wholeness is merely a construct of the mind, an illusion we can dissolve at will with awareness. We recognize our internal and omnipresent nature. We see that time and space, too, are constructs of the mind, illusions shaping our perception of existence. As we bring more awareness to this truth, the stress of constant doing fades. This does not mean we stop taking action, but our approach to action changes. Our actions arise naturally in response to life rather than from a sense of lack. We no longer act to attain something, for in wholeness there is nothing missing. Our actions become desireless, free from attachment to outcomes. Our days may be filled with activity, but we do not feel busy. We are not rushing from one task to the next. We give ourselves fully to each action as it arises, staying with it until we feel complete. Then another task may call our attention, yet in each moment we are fully present and fully engaged. And there are also moments when we could simply allow ourselves to be, to rest in the fullness of existence, to feel the beauty and miracle of life in connection with the whole. Remember that you are the universe. Breathe it in. I am the universe. There are also moments when we could simply allow ourselves to be in the beautiful and miracle of life in connection with the whole. And Ernest Holmes reminds us of this in his quote, "There is that within every individual which partakes of the nature of the universal wholeness, and, insofar as it operates, is God. We are so one with the whole that what is true of it is also true of us." And now for music from Susan Clark in a song called We Are One in the Spirit, written by Devotion.
Hello, CSL Denver. Susan Clark with you to provide the music for your service once again. I decided I'd play guitar on this one just to remind you that I still play guitar. I picked out a song called We Are One in the Spirit, and it was written by Robert Anderson, performed by a duo called Devotion. Away, 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 away. Away, 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 away. We are one in the spirit. We are one in this world. We are one in the spirit. Everybody, every soul, everywhere we turn. Life is gonna change when inside we change and take that journey to the heart. You are my brother and you are my sister, and not one of us can live apart. We are one in the spirit. Involve yourself in, it's time to begin, for the healing of this earth. Many small steps here and millions of feet now can carry everybody to rebirth. We are one in the spirit. We are one in this world. We are one in the spirit. Everybody, every soul, everywhere we turn. Away, 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 away. So as you take yourself back to someone else, all the nations who belong, tear down illusion, shore up with truth, and you and I will sing a worldwide song. We are one in the spirit. We are one in this world. We are one in the spirit. Every woman, every man, every boy and girl, we are one in the spirit. We are one in this world. We are one in the spirit. Everybody, every soul, everywhere we turn. Away, 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 away. Away, 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 Thank you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And thank you, Susan, for that music to start the service. I want to begin with the welcome as always. Good morning and welcome to CSL Denver, a place, a space, and a face of love, a spiritual community teaching universal principles and applying ancient wisdom to empower our lives and the lives of others. And today is definitely a day to be empowered, I think. Empowered in a way of looking at life that allows us, encourages us to be whole, to be whole. And what we're looking at in today's talk, as we continue to look at this whole thing about embracing wholeness, we want to talk about, look at, examine, turn upside down what we believe about wholeness. Now, I'll be honest, I had to do some shortcuts because that's like a dissertation trying to explain what we believe about wholeness. Because there's so many different ways to look at it and slice it and dice it, if you will, that it would take pretty much a lifetime to really understand. But I think if we just take a couple of points, which I'm going to bring up, to look at how do we ground ourselves into this idea of wholeness, I think we'll all leave here today with the new perspective on who we are and what we are, and even maybe why we are. But before we do that, let's just go within and call forth the Spirit to pervade this room and to awaken us to the truth of who we really are. So, Infinite Spirit, the source of all life, wisdom, and understanding, we pause in this moment called now to reflect upon who we are. We open our hearts, our minds, and our very souls to be receptive and the everlasting containers of the Spirit of the divine. May every thought today be one of clarity. May every idea be an anchor in the truth of who we are. And may everything we do be an action to create wholeness. And so we affirm that right here, right now, that each and every one of us are anchored in an everlasting truth of oneness, of wholeness, of connection, of relationship that makes the one possible. And so it is in that understanding that we release this idea of being exactly who we are so that we can continue to be the unique, divine aspect of God that we are. And so it is. Amen. And so, I was thinking about this topic, and the first thing that came to mind was this idea that We live in a world that kind of cultivates this idea that we are incomplete, that we're not whole, that, you know, that we're broken. And it made me think, you know, we often, or I'll say I may reflect for somebody else, but for, you know, it's often this idea like a cell phone, we always waiting for that next update, or we got some self-help book, or we got some other thing we need to do to be or feel whole and complete. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was to live my life waiting on the update from the phone company, I'm going to be in real bad shape, because sometimes they start and they don't complete. Sometimes they update it and now I got to cut the phone off because it won't restart. And we get caught up in this idea of waiting for something or someone else to make us whole. But if we listen to the whispers from all the ancient teachings and spiritual systems and the gurus and the mystics, they all echo the same thing. You are already whole. You're already whole. And wholeness is not something we achieve or a destination. It is the nature of who we are. We're already whole. It's a truth that we allow ourselves to awaken to by dropping something. By dropping something. Because again, we live in a society that is predicated on you, I'm gonna just say it, somebody might get me, being a consumer. Consuming something to say who you are, whether it's a car or outfit, has nothing to do with wholeness. Wholeness is something that's already there, and I got to drop something to realize it sometime. And, you know, that can be hard. That can be hard because we've also been taught to compare ourselves to someone or to look for this elusive idea of perfection. I don't know what that is, perfection, because in an ever-evolving, infinite world, perfection is a fleeting thing. They first invented the car with that little crank in the front that you had to do some magic with to get it to start. And I'm sure a lot of people thought that was perfection after riding a horse and buggy for 30 miles. But now they got an electric car. You don't even hear, if you ever rode in an electric car, you don't even hear it. Perfection is ever evolving, which is very different from wholeness. Very different from wholeness. And so today we explore what it means to live from a state of remembrance to remember who we are. Already whole. Already emanations of the one spirit, the one thing that moves and has its being within us. Ernest Holmes said this, which I is part of what we believe. And he said, we believe in God, the living spirit almighty, one, indivisible, absolute, and self-existing cause. Now, if there's only one thing at the beginning, and there's no competition with that oneness, then everything is a part of that. Everything is a part of that. And so he goes on to say in the fifth core concept, spirit is a transcendent, perfect whole that contains and embraces all seeming opposites. Transcends and embraces opposites. Because when we live in a world like we do right now, we're always pitting one side against the other. the Democrats against the Republicans, the left against the right, the up against the down. I mean, pick something, and they're going to be pitted against themselves. But when we realize that it's just one end of a spectrum that is ever evolving, there is a statement made by a Jesuit priest named Anthony de Mello. And Anthony de Mello, he was giving this story, and he said, and he was thinking, I think he took it from Mark Twain, but he was saying, you know, if that thermometer had been 1 inch longer, I would have froze to death. I would have froze to death. Because there's always this parallel, this opposite, this thing that we have to wrestle with that only appears within our preview. As we expand our consciousness, that thing that we looked at as a static thing expands. And so when we can do that, we realize that we are born eternally whole, and that we may forget it, we may ignore it, we may run from it, and all things in between, but the fact remains that we are one. That we are one. And every moment of life, we have an invitation to remember that we are one. But if we get caught up in the everyday, you need this to be whole, you need an update, you need to go get this book, you need to go get that thing, whatever it is. Not that those things can't be helpful. When I plant the seed in the ground, it needs all these other things to maybe give it a comfortable feel, but everything that the seed needs is in the seed. It doesn't need those other things to be what it truly is. It's already whole and complete. And so when we can get to that moment of understanding, I think let's put it this way. Let's bring up this quote by Sinjay, who was the third patriarch of Zen. If I could get that first slide. There is no need to seek truth. Only stop chasing opinions. See that all is already complete. Because when we get caught up in the world, we're chasing someone else's opinion of what's beautiful, what's perfect, what's good, what's bad. But we have within us the intelligence, the insight, and the connection to the divine that allows each and every one of us to realize the truth on our own. Because the truth for someone with diabetes is not the same truth for someone without it. This person over here could maybe eat all the candy they want. This person with diabetes, they got to monitor that sugar intake. But if I listen to the opinion of someone else and say, oh, you can eat it, it don't matter, I might be in trouble. I have to begin to use the intelligence which is in me to realize what wholeness is. Wholeness for a male is not the same wholeness for a female. So we have to begin to look at things in that light so that we can step into that idea that Jesus the Christ said, the kingdom of heaven is within. It is a self-contained thing within us already that gives us access to the keys of the kingdom, as they say, that has many mansions. And what did Jesus say after that? He said, if it was not true, I would have told you so. Which means there are different ways of expressing wholeness. There's different ways of living a life that is in line with the divine spirit. Now, a question, how many of you have thought, I need just this one more thing? Whatever that one more thing is, I just need one more degree. I just need, one more job. I just need one more bank account. Then I'll be whole. Then I'll be good. Then I can live my life. while life is going on all the time. Never stopped. Never stopped. And so, thus, when we look at wholeness, alignment is at the very core. You know, our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, has some great quotes, but I don't think one is any better than the one he said in this regard. A house divided against itself cannot stand. That's wholeness. That's true wholeness. If all the pieces are divided against each other, the house can't stand. Very simple, very clear. And that's what we have to begin to do. We have to integrate, if you will, and align with all the parts of ourselves. That's what this body represents. Bunch of pieces come together as one whole. Ernest said his teaching was the idea of including or putting in alignment all the truths of religion, philosophy, and science. Three supposedly totally different subjects that he's saying to be whole, we have to bring all that together. To look at ourselves at a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. That's wholeness. Have you ever been successful in one part of your life and the other part's been falling apart? And you try to figure it out. Well, I'm doing so great over here. I got a good job. I'll get good pay, boy. My relationships are really bad right now. Wholeness is the idea of alignment. All those things have to be in alignment. And when we can begin to step into that, we can get a great picture, I think, if we look at 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 12, that says, "For as the body is one and has many parts, and all the many parts of that one body are one body, so also is Christ." So also the various parts of ourselves come together as one, against nothing, working together, understanding. You know, if any of you have seen Tai Chi masters or martial artists, when they have this whole idea of when something pushes, they pull. When something pulls, they push. So there's no friction going on. It's just a continuous flow of moving from one thing to the other, reading the situation and understanding there's a wholeness. When that doesn't happen, something breaks. If something's pushing and I don't go with it, there's a break somewhere. There's a break. And so when we look at wholeness, things may get out of alignment, but they don't break. They just need to be put back into alignment. Put back into alignment. And so I think if we take a moment and just ask ourselves, how do we ground ourselves in this idea of wholeness, which can be expressed by so many metaphors, by so many stories, it's an endless way of looking at something. To me, it reminds me of a kaleidoscope. Did anybody have a kaleidoscope when they were kids? It was one thing that was contained in it, one set of rocks, and every time I turned it, a whole different picture, if you will, of that one thing revealed itself. Neither one of them right, neither one of them wrong, neither one of them perfect. It is. And so if we can ground ourselves, I believe, in these three ideas, I think we will be in a great position to move forward in a word I think that is sometimes overused, and that is this word called authentic. If I hear the word authentic or authenticity one more time, I'm gonna write to Random House or Merriam-Webster, say, please take that out the dictionary, because it's overused and it's used, I think, in ways that does not really promote wholeness, which is one of the ideas that it's trying to do. So the first thing that we want to do is, we talked about it a bit there, but we want to make it more explicit. Wholeness is not perfection. It is alignment. It is alignment. And when we can buy that, Esther Hicks says this: with the right alignment, everything you want makes its way into your experience. You are the keeper of your own gate. When you think about alignment, if I align the gears and the clutch in the car, it just does what it's supposed to do. I don't have to make it do it. There's a way of allowing these things to happen when you are in the right alignment. So the question is, what does it take to be in alignment? Well, we're gonna get to that point, but that's the key point. Wholeness emerges not when everything is flawless, but when everything is facing in the same direction. Meaning you got to have vision, you got to have purpose, and wholeness and purpose, sometimes meaning of life, they kind of go interchangeable the way we use them now. But we have to be clear on that. We have to be clear on that. And when we can align, alignment is a statement of returning to a point where everything is working together for the goodness of God, or the goodness of spirit, or for a divine idea, or towards a lofty vision. We have to begin in wholeness to understand that there's so many different ways in this world to describe it. There are levels, there are subtleties. And if we get stuck at one level, we're never going to find it. I'll go on a limb and say we're never going to find it. If I think of myself only as a physical body, I'm never going to be whole. My mind's going to go crazy. My behavior is going to go crazy because I'm focusing on one thing. Now I have to look at these various levels to put them in alignment, to put them in agreement. But without that, and I'm not trying to perfect anything, I'm trying to align everything. Now, once we've gotten that alignment, here's a point I think right now that is more needed than ever. It does not look at differences or does not demand sameness. We got all these things going on in our society because one system, one person, one idea says you need to be the same as me or as my system, or else you're the enemy. You are separate from me. And the house divided can't stand. Wholeness does not pick out differences or demand that you be the same. It demands alignment, relationship, understanding. Wholeness, Rumi says this. Rumi, I just love Rumi. Rumi says, I do. He makes good cake. I mean, Rumi is outstanding. But he says this: the lamps are different, but the light is the same. Wholeness. It's just one light, but it's expressed by many different things in many different ways. And one light that I use in a cave might not work when I'm out of the cave. Difference between spotlight and floodlight. We have to begin to understand that it is the differences that allow us to be whole, to express what we truly are. One thing, indivisible. Wholeness demands, in that regard, that we embrace the shadow, that we embrace our fears, our guilt, our faults. Most of us, self-included, we run from that kind of stuff. I don't want to think about when I didn't do ABC and I'm guilty about it. We want to hide that, but I need to embrace that guilt to align, to understand how to maneuver, how to deal with the life of wholeness, because that's part of life. Guilt and shame and fear and doubt, and that's a part of the wholeness of life. But when we forget that and we start, wanting everything to be like me, that way I don't have to be guilty. I don't have to feel the shame because you're just like me. That don't work. Does not work. Wholeness then is not the idea of comparison, but wholeness transfers comparison into transformation. It allows us to transform just by doing that. And then the biggest one of all, Rumi said it again. Rumi was prolific today. Try something different. Surrender. We have to surrender into wholeness. You can't make your heart beat. It beats because it's part of the whole thing, and it just does what it does. And I have to surrender to that. Surrender is the hardest thing we have to do in terms of finding our wholeness, of being whole. Not finding, revealing, or aligning, because it's not lost, it's already here. I don't need to find it. I need to allow it to be. I need to surrender to the idea to allow the oneness of all there is to shine through. How hard is it to surrender? Have you ever tried to really, really surrender? I give you an example of what it's like. Everybody has probably seen the circus or gone to the circus or something to that effect. Surrender is the idea or the actuality of being a high wire trapeze artist. At some point, you got to let go and trust that ring, that rope, whatever it is that's coming at you is there for you to grab it. You have to surrender completely. You can't get halfway. I'm going to hold on to the other and get here, because most likely you're going to fall. So how do we get to that understanding and look at it like a trapeze artist when we begin to look at our life in wholeness? There's a matter of trust. There's a matter of surrender that we have to lean into wholeheartedly, or else there will be a disaster. And I can tell you, boy, I done had some disasters where I was trying to straddle the fence. I was trying to be, over here and over there at the same time. And at one point, I either had to commit or I fell into problems. And I would suggest that many of you can find the same thing. We can't go through life. Well, you can. I would suggest that you don't go through life with your emergency brakes on. And that's how we live life a lot of times. We got the emergency brake on and we moving, but we are grinding and going slow. And when we really need to stop, it's difficult. So we can begin to understand what it means to surrender when we look at a trapeze artist, of what it means to surrender, to trust, and to let go, and allow the wholeness that is already there to reveal itself. There's a story I want to tell just to make this point as we close. There is a movie out called The Odyssey, just started the other day, of Odysseus trying to get back home. Now, home is a synonym in a lot of cases of wholeness. How do I get back home to my wholeness? And Odysseus, this whole Odyssey happens 10 years after the Trojan War. Now, if I had time, I could go into all the metaphors and simile and symbols of that whole epic story. But we know 10, from a numerology place, is completeness. So he had 10 years after the war. He spent another 10 years trying to get home, trying to find that wholeness. We have that same stuff going on in us right now, trying to find wholeness. And when we look at the story, there's all these things. There's disasters. He goes out to sea, and there's disasters, and there's supernatural powers, and all these things to distract him or to encourage him or to cause him to ponder or cause him to surrender. And that's our story. That's our story. We have all those same triumphs and all those same failures and wanderings and going about, that we are the story of the Odyssey. The Odyssey is to get home, to find yourself, to be the king of the castle, of the kingdom. And so I think one of the greatest things in Homer's insight, when he put this together, beneath the monsters, storms, and divine interventions lies something far more intimate. The story of a human being separated from everything familiar and forced to find his way home. Ultimately, it is not a story of conquest, but of endurance, identity, and the search for meaning and wholeness. We are at a time forced into unfamiliar waters. Right now, we're in unfamiliar waters. Today, perhaps more than ever, we lose roles, relationships, assumptions, and versions of ourselves that once seemed perfect. Once seemed perfect. But what carries us through is not always strength of will, but the ability to change without losing what matters to us most, and that's our true self. That's what that movie is, I believe. How do we get back home? How do we go through life with the ups and downs and triumphs and still make it through? So as we go through this week, let us remember we are whole, perfect, and complete. There's nothing missing. And that when we can align ourselves and not worry about differences, but embrace the differences and ground ourselves into surrender, we'll be the greatest trapeze artists in the world, to grab any rope, any bar, any string that comes our way with ease and grace. And so it is. Amen. So let us pray. As we take this moment and breathe, realizing and recognizing that that was a whole breath. It may not have been a perfect breath, but it was a whole breath that we surrendered into as we have been asked so many times by the divine spirit to be still and know. And as we step into that idea of surrendering and knowingness and breathing and being still, we remember who we are. Our wholeness reveals itself to us. And we can allow it to move within us and have its way with us so that we are the light on the top of the hill, shining bright, allowing others to see what it means, what it takes to be whole. And so I know and declare right here, right now, as we align ourselves with that idea, that we begin to live life differently. We begin to look at ourselves differently. We begin to look at others differently. Knowing that I am you and you are me and we are one, working together as a whole. And the more that we align, the more that we embrace the parts that we don't like and allow them to invigorate the whole idea of life, we begin to relax and release and ease into a way that is reflective of the divine mind of God itself. And so it is in that understanding and that idea of wholeness, of alignment, of surrender, that we continue to embrace and give thanks for this idea, because it is exactly who we are. And so it is in that moment of understanding that we release, we let go, and we know that it is absolutely so. And so it is. Amen. And so as a call to action, there's 3. You can pick 1, 2, or 3. The first one, take one action every day this week that honors your body, mind, and spirit. Wholeness. Body, mind, and spirit. And then there's a practice of whole self-acceptance. Each morning, look into the mirror and say, I welcome all of myself into the healing presence of love. And last but not least, the sacred pause. Like the trapeze artist, if you pause, there's going to be a problem. Set a timer on your phone twice a day. When it goes off, drop your shoulders, stop pushing, take 3 deep belly breaths, and mentally declare, I am doing enough, I have enough, I am enough in this season. So to anchor that in terms of an affirmation idea as we go through the week, I release perfection and return to alignment with my true self. And these will be on the call to action and affirmation will be on the website if you didn't get a chance to write them down or take a snapshot. But let's go to work. It's hot enough to get some wholeness, I tell you. That might help us cool off a little bit. I don't know. I got all these various parts looking for air. It makes it difficult. But it's now that time for sacred giving. And we want to thank everyone for their time, treasure, and talents that they give us here at CSL Denver. Whether it's through the website on the donate button, or whether here in the center, or whether you mail a check or money order to the P.O. box, however you give, please give. It helps us to continue this idea, to continue this teaching, and to allow us to really step into wholeness. And so if it feels good to put your hand on your heart to anchor in this idea of law of circulation, cause and effect, and repeat this affirmation, this perfect gift is spirit informed, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive, and so it is, amen. And so it is, amen. And so now Alice is going to come up and give us some announcements. And thank you, Alice.
Thank you. Like we mentioned earlier, Rumi made a gorgeous cake today because tomorrow is Tim Hancock's birthday. So let's all wish him a very happy birthday. We still have a couple of the July-August Science Mind magazines available for sale. As Bob and Jerry have attested, we have one. Oh, yay, we have one left. You can purchase it for $10. And as Bob and Jerry have said, that the weekly or the daily readings are by Dr. John Waterhouse, a previous spiritual leader of CSL. And he is the author of, and his topic is on Ernest Holmes' What We Believe. And it's very, his daily readings are very powerful. So get it while it's hot. And today, right after service, we have our Divine Dialogue. So please join Reverend Elzia and the CSL Denver practitioners for a Divine Dialogue right after our service. Jerry Hodge, one of our emeritus practitioners, will have facilitated a discussion on the 4th of July and independence. So there's still some cake left, so we'll have coffee and tea and whatever else you want, and some cake. So mark your calendars. Our next community cafe is next Sunday at 10 a.m. And as you know, our community cafes, it's bring a dish to share, bring a friend to share. And this one is going to be Reverend Elzia will be sharing his information about the science of prayer and prayer beads. And it is we will discover the ancient wisdom and modern neuroscience behind prayer beads in this hands-on interfaith workshop. Explore how bead traditions evolved across Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, Sikhism, and New Thought, and why specific bead counts 108, 33, 59, and more carry deep symbolic meaning. Learn how repetitive prayer affects the brain, breath, and nervous system, and then we will create our own set of prayer beads. So if you have any beads at home that you want to bring in for yourself, that's fine. We will provide some for a prayer bracelet. Let's see, like I said, bring a dish, bring a friend to share, and we will just have a wonderful time that we always do. Curiosity Corner, I went and got some new Ernest Holmes books and other books. They're not here today, but they will be here, probably not at Community Cafe, but the first week in August, I'm sorry. And so but we still have a lot on the table, so help yourself and take a look. And we are so blessed to have New Thought Media Network and Diego as our Sunday service producer. We invite you to go to www.ntmedia.org and check out what they have. There's something for everyone. There's over 40 hours of stuff that's just, if you need some enlightenment or support or whatever, it's all there. And we are so truly blessed by everyone who has chosen to support CSL Denver by showing up on Sundays or watching our services online. We know that as we move through the rest of this year, we're more than halfway through now, the Divine Beloved is guiding and loving each and every one of us. So thank you for joining us. And now let's close out with Denise Rosier singing Love is Everything. Thank you.
It's a power that moves like the mighty seas, a peace that brings wars to cease. It's the voice that calls us into being. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? It's the joy that makes a songbird sing, a word that every language speaks. It's the name that is above all things. Oh, say love is everything. It can't hide, be pushed aside.